This is not a film. Well, it is and it isn't at the same time. The story of this effort, as it calls itself, is that in 2010, an Iranian director, Jafar Panahi, was accused of making movies that go against the Iranian regime, against the censorship, and he was sentenced to prison plus a 20-year ban on making movies. And as he was sitting at home alone on house arrest, waiting for the results of the appeal, he decided to do something, partly out of boredom, partly out of this inherent need to do something creative, the inability to stay still, but partly also as a political statement, as a protest of sorts, a rallying cry for the Iranian film industry. So he invited a friend over with a camera, told him to shoot, and he tried to lay out the plans for his next movie that never came to be by reading aloud the screenplay and using everyday household objects to try and visualize specific shots for the audience. So in a way, kind of making the movie for us without really making it. So it's definitely not a film for everyone. I think most general audiences would be baffled and bored by the sheer concept of it. But if you're interested in the process of filmmaking, I think, and in even more general in the creative process, I think it's a fascinating look into the mind of a restless director. It's almost an experiment of how far you can stretch the definition of film, how far you can strip it of regular cinematic tools and processes while still, trying to tell your story. What's the point? Where is the point at which the movie is no longer a movie? It was pretty engaging to me on that front. And then also towards the end of the film, there's a sudden shift in tone. There's a sequence where a guy shows up to pick up the trash from the director's apartment, and the director starts following him with a camera. And at this point, because of the atmosphere of isolation and the stuff we learned about the Iranian government, we're paranoid about this person. We were questioning, is he really a garbage collector or an agent sent here just to spy for the government? And that last point, especially that suspicion, ties beautifully into the unfinished movie that Panahi was reading the script for just a couple of minutes earlier. So again, definitely not for everyone, but if you go into it consciously, knowing what it's supposed to be, I think it's a fascinating look into the creative process as well as a smart statement of political defiance.